Dogda Gopalanandana Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. All the Upanishads are likened to a cow. The cowherd boy is Krishna. The calf is Arjuna. People of purified intellect are the drinkers of the milk, and the milk is the supreme nectar of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 5, verse 21. The last class we had read the verse. We will explain it in this. It's the escape from pain. It is pain that defines human life. It's pain that defines our experiences. And that has been the one quest of the human mind. How to escape from this pain, the touch of pain, the world of pain, the experiences of pain. The verse is, with one's heart unattached to external objects, one gets the bliss that is in the Atman. With one's heart absorbed in meditation on Brahman, one acquires undecaying bliss. Bhaya sparshe swasaktatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukham akshayam asnute. Sukham, happiness, supreme happiness. Dukkham, pain. Now even Bhagavan Buddha says, Sarvam dukkham dukkham. Everything is painful, painful, painful. What a kind of a depressing philosophy is this? Everything is painful and painful and painful. What is painful then? Human life? Why should human life be painful? Human life should be full of joy. But something goes wrong somewhere. And what's that? Our senses goes and touches these external objects. That is, you can say, the result of our pain. But why should it be like that? The Gita verse explains it. Bhaya sparsheshu. You see, what happens is we are constantly in touch with this external world. This constant, you can say, expectations. It's not the world. The world itself is neutral. But it is my expectations that I will get happiness in this, I will get happiness in this, I will get happiness in this, this. No, that was wrong. That was the mistake. So where do I get my happiness? Here he says, one who goes inside, one gets bliss in the Atman, in one's own self. That is the place where we should have gone for happiness and bliss and peace and joy and other strings of all these various things that we like. But we went outside. And in Indian literature, you have the story, the illustration of a musk deer. A deer, the musk deer has musk in its navel, as they say. That's an old Indian legend. And what happens is it gets a whiff of that musk and goes frenzied. It goes all around the place searching for that musk, not knowing that that aroma, that musk, is within itself. And that is exactly what our life is. Bahya sparsheshu, that is that we touch. You know, when we say, what do we touch? Yes, we're saying, oh, I was so touched by that person. I was so touched by that sentiment. I was so touched by that song. I was so touched by this. Everything is touching me. Everything is coming and touching me. Yeah, that's the idea. But in Indian philosophy, it is the mind that goes and touches things. And where it wants to have a little pleasure, it stays a little longer. It caresses that. There's a difference between the caress of a mother and the caress of an ordinary person. We dwell on that particular thing. And when we dwell on the particular thing, we let our mind rest on that. It's like touching this thing. So what's the way out? This person, asakta-atma, one who is not attached to external objects, one whose mind does not dwell on those external objects. You can say, it's just completely detached from this. Asakta-atma, that's why when with his heart unattached. What do you mean heart? This is the heart? No, it's not heart. That's the old way of speaking. It's the inner instrument, the mind, the intellect, the ego, and the memories. The antakaran, the inner instrument. That is, you can say, free from the touch of external things. So what happens? That person has become dry. It doesn't get anything, I would say. No, one gets the bliss that is in the Atman, in the self. Vindati obtains bliss which is in the self. Atmani yat sukham. Now, this sukham, this happiness, is not the happiness that is derived from sense objects. Later on in the next chapter, we will come also to understand what real happiness is. The real happiness is only in your real self, not in the non-self. This is the not-self. This is constantly undergoing transformation. Today this thing is good. After a couple of days, that thing has become bad. It's constantly transforming. It has later on we'll find it has a beginning and an end. Yeah, it has a beginning and an end. So it is my hankering. I keep on contacting sound, touch, taste, smell, and sight through my 5 sense organs. And I get into trouble. So what do? I have to detach myself, asakta-atma. I become detached from that. And what? I get my bliss from the self. That is the source of bliss. That is the bliss that is there. A fraction of that bliss. You know what happens is, the psychology of happiness or bliss or whatever in the external objects found there. When I have something here which I was dwelling on for a while, which I had previously experienced, or I had heard about a thing, or I'd read about a particular thing, oh, that gives you happiness, you know. That gives you wellness. So what do? I have that memory, that old experience. And then that memory, when it becomes more and more stronger, it impels me. And when it impels me, I go outside, I get that object, and for that moment, my mind becomes calm. It's not agitated anymore by the waves of memory and past experience and all these things. It's not agitating the mind. So the moment I experience that object, then the mind becomes still. our happiness is because of the stillness of the mind. But the problem comes is we have hundreds of memories and hundreds of things, millions of things we have heard about and thought about and imagined and dreamed about. All those waves are there, whipping up a kind of a storm in the mind. How do I calm the mind? I calm it in one area and it emerges in another area. So the psychology is when there is a touch, the contact between the sense object and the sense, you can say, sense organ and the sense object, there is an initial calmness. I wanted to see you, now I saw you. Yeah. And then, you know what happens. So, the Gita teaches us, you don't dwell on that. Your real happiness is the stability of the mind. And if you want more stability, go down deep inside, which is nothing but the Atman, which is light, which is pouring out through it. So when the mind becomes calm, what happens is, the light which is there in the Atman comes out a little more clearly. It is more limpid and lucid. Because when it is agitated, the mind, the reflection of that light of the self, the Atman, gets so distorted. And when the mind is calm, you really get the light pouring out through you. Now, if you want that happiness, the mind should be calm, okay, and you catch briefly that light of the self. It is actually that which is happiness. That which is the source of happiness. But we have been thinking, oh, that object is giving me happiness. The Atman, the poor guy, is saying, I was giving you happiness. Well, but you say, no, you stay out there behind. Let me do this first. That's why he's saying, the bliss in the self. With one's heart absorbed in meditation on Brahman, one acquires undecaying bliss. Sir, that the person, Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma. Wow. That's people are talking what is yoga and what is yoga and all this yoga. What is yoga? Make a headstand and twist and turn your body and injure your back and well, yoga is Brahma Yoga. When you are joined to that reality called Brahman, one who meditates on Brahman, yoga. Yukta is to be joined in meditation on that Brahman, that reality. Who is that? That person. What does he meditate upon? That reality through what? Through his inner instrument Antakaran. Through his mind, as you say. So that person, instead of going around like a madman touching these objects here and there, so that person keeps quiet and makes the reality the object of his meditation. And what happens then? Sukham akshayam asnati. That person gets undecaying bliss. The bliss that we get here, the sources of pain. Obviously, it has to be a source of pain. Why is the Gita so kind of, so spoil sport? Let us have a little fun here and there. But the Gita is speaking about eternal truths. It is not a particular sect of religion or a kind of a, sampradaya, kind of a tradition. No, these are all universal truths. It applies to everything. Swami Vivekananda says, my God, saying, we kill animals without any compunction. See, their whole soul is in the senses. And they enjoy things which you can even imagine. And yet we think they are lower creatures and they can be. No. Their life is in not only the senses, in the body. And for them, a little pleasure is tremendous pleasure. If you compare that with us, our pleasure is nothing. We don't know we only get pain. Animals have that tremendous, all the prana is in their body. So pleasure for them is, exceedingly, you can say, exceeding the limits of human, you can say, conceptions also. Similarly, their experience of pain also is commensurate with that. And we think, it's the same thing. The more lower you are in your organization, and if your prana is more in the body, you will get pleasure and pain in excess. People say, people don't understand my pain. Yeah, you have more of your life in your body, and you'll experience pain, more pain. That's a touch of pain. So when your life force is gone inside, inwards, in the self, you will get bliss. When it is come outside in the body, and the body is in constant touch with this world. Otherwise, the body cannot exist without this touch. This external world, this is the touch of pain. There's a touch of pain. But is there no happiness? Yes, Swami Vivekananda says, no. Pleasure comes to us wearing a crown of thorns. You take one, you take the other also. We generally want the pleasure minus the pain. And that has been the basis of not only all life and all ideas of living. Live a good life. Really? If pain comes, pain is inevitable, ignore it. Discard it. Don't even, you can say, think about it, doubt it. Everything is happiness, everything is wellness, everything is good, everything. Don't go on that illusion. This world is, as Bhagavan Buddha says, sarvam dukkham dukkham. Why did he say like that? He's stating a fact. Those whose minds have become sensitive, they will understand. I'm not going to get trapped now with all this kind of rubbish. That person detaches oneself from the touches of pain and gets and touches that bliss, that pleasure inside. That is what. So the next verse is kind of also an extension of this idea. Ye hi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nrateshu ramate buddha. Here this is ye hi samsparshaja bhoga. This experience, bhoga means experience. It's not, generally bhoga is translated as enjoyment. Enjoyment. Why can't enjoyments be on the opposite side also? Painful also? So in Indian philosophy, bhoga is experience. Experience of pleasure and pain. So he's saying, yea, these, verily, samsparshaja, that the experience which is due to the contact, sparsha, touch. What are they? Dukkha yono, the sources, the womb of pain. Now, what do we do? It's kind of terrible. How do we live our life? This is just a kind of a warning. Don't venture into things which will get you into deeper and deeper and deeper trouble. Yeah, that you're getting into, don't get into trouble. Say, what do I do? Keep quiet. No, don't keep quiet. Find that bliss within yourself. It's not that you keep on, I'm not going to do anything. I'll close my eyes, close my ears, everything close. I close my room and I don't want to interact with anything. And then what happens is, all those old memories of the old pains come and they'll disturb you. That is not the way. It is not a negative view of life. People say, oh, Indian philosophy always talks about pain, 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 pain. Because they were miserable people, that's why they always talked about pain. No. That was one of the arguments leveled against Indian philosophy. Oh, you're talking about Sankhya also talk about pain, Buddhism also talks pain, and Jainism and Hinduism part of it. No, I say no. Swamiji said we are children of immortal bliss. Ye children of immortal bliss. We forgot the whole thing. And that's why we are now in touch with pain. We are children of immortal bliss. Amritasya putra. So he's saying these experiences, if it's not painful to you, it's painful to someone else. Yes, let's have a steak. Wow, there's nothing like a steak. You're having a nice time. See how painful it was for that guy who gave you the steak. So what? So yeah, you have done one karma and that result is going to come to you. Okay. You give anything pain, that thing will give you pain after some time. If we could understand this law of karma, so don't give anybody pain. So you don't get anything anybody. Don't give yourself also pain. So slowly we come out of it. That's why the prayer is, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful, may all beings be blissful. Before you meditate, after you meditate, if you are meditating, your mind is very restless, pray for the happiness of all. You are constantly thinking of yourself. Now my back is paining and my leg is paining. There you are. Painful. Touch of pain. Think of others. Pray for others. That will lessen your pain and their pain also. This is the way. Why? Because, they say, Adhyantavanta Kamteya. So it has a beginning. The pain has a beginning. It has an end also. All experience has a beginning, has an end. We foolishly want to extend our nice, pleasurable experiences for a long time. It's not possible. It's just a touch. It's a touch and it's over. Really? Oh yeah. The mind, the mind is so, the type of mind which is kshipta, restless. So the mind cannot stay there on a particular thing for long. You ask a person, hey, let's have some cookies. Yeah, that guy, you give him cookies, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, or 4 pounds of cookies. That guy will become sick of cookies. I don't want to do anything. I don't want any cookies anymore in my life. Sri Ramakrishna one time, he underwent through many, you can say, spiritual practices. At one point of his spiritual practice, due to that upsurge of that spiritual current within him, he kept on eating and eating and eating. This is simply, and hunger, he was insatiable, kept on eating this. So, his tantric guru, that lady, Brahmani, Bhairavi, they say, she was a nun. He said, okay, you fill a room full of eatable things and keep Ramakrishna in that. So the owner of that temple garden, he did that. And Sri Ramakrishna took things like, kept on eating. After some time saying, I don't want to eat anything, he was rid of. But for 3 days he was there. But that's a different story. For us, it's a different story. For us, our minds are so restless, kshipta. There's a type of mind in which yoga is not possible at all. You know? Yeah, yoga proper. Kshipta, restless. And there's another type of mind which yoga is not possible. Mooda, darkened. The mind is dark, it's tamasic. So in these two types of, you can say, mind, the natural tendency is to go out, search for things, instead of searching that bliss inside. So you tell that person 1,000, 10,000 times, 1,000,000 times, don't go out. Can I do? It's a nature of my nature. Well, go out and get beaten up. And after getting beaten up for some time, then you come inside. Now you come inside. So this is, since enjoyments that result from contact with objects are verily the sources of sorrow and have a beginning and an end. Therefore, O son of Kunti, that's Arjuna, the wise one does not delight in them. Na teshu ramate buddha. Buddha, the wise person, ramate, can get involved, does not enjoy. What? Does not enjoy all that thing. Sri Ramakrishna also gives the example of a camel. It eats these shrubs, and these shrubs are thorny shrubs. It will keep on eating, its mouth will keep on bleeding, but it will keep on eating. So we are something like that. That's a touch of pain, everything. So Sri Ramakrishna, he's got, his illustrations are very vivid. Now you can see the camel, yeah. And camels, my God, when they eat, they're not going to listen to you, look at you. They're shamelessly eating. And they eat all types of cactus and everything, and see how they they start bleeding to the mouth. But they will keep on. That a taste of that blood also, nice. It's good. You know that the blood is like salty, it's the salty taste. Yeah. Nice. Mixed with all that kind of thorns. So you're eating all those thorns. So, ye hi samsparsha jabho, those experiences which are the result of touch, sparsha. He's saying, what are they? They are sources. They are the wombs of, you can say, pain. It has a beginning, it has an end. And so, a person who is wise will not dwell on those things. Now, even if you have no concern with the external things, you okay, I want the bliss of the self, the Atman. So what do? You have your old memories. The problem comes here. So, is that experience of that inner happiness enough to obstruct those memories? Yes. Otherwise, it will be impossible. You have not got external pain, you have not got internal bliss, and you are stuck up in the middle with your old memories, your old experiences. So it's like the Trishanku, is neither in heaven, neither on the earth. Is hanging somewhere in the middle. The Trishanku, there was a king who was kicked out of heaven, and then he was sent up from the earth here by the power of a sacrifice. And he went up, and then he wanted to go to heaven with this body. He was the king, Trishanku. He had 3 big sins. We won't go into that. So he wanted to go to heaven with this body. So the sage Vashishta, "Hey, don't be stupid. Get out. Get away from me." Saying, "You sinful guy." So he was a little kind of peeved, a kind of rebuttal by this sage. Vashishta was a great sage. So he goes to another sage, Vishwamitra, who had a kind of an, you can say, a competitive spirit with, with Vashishta. So Vishwamitra, he himself was a great sage. So he said, "Don't worry, I'm going to send you up to heaven." So he started on big homa, on fire sacrifice. And he started pouring those oblations and chanting those mantras and this and that. At the end of the sacrifice, the king Trishanku started slowly levitating. And as he levitating, the guy became lighter and lighter and started going up without all those booster rockets, going straight up to heaven. Going up. And then the gods were there. The king of the gods is saying, "Hey, what's a human coming up here?" So as he came toward the heaven, they gave him one kick to get out. Humans can't enter here. It's only meant for the gods. So he kept on falling down from heaven. And Vishwamitra, he got, "Arya, stop it." He made another kind of sacrifice and then with another ritual, and he stopped him midway. Now, saying, "Wait." So, Vishwamitra was ready to create another heaven where this guy was hanging down there. Because he has to have some place, Then the gods came and requested the sage, don't do that. He will create trouble with all this plan of the universe. So, we are like that Trishanku. Going out, no chance. Why? Because the Bhagavad Gita and that Swami was saying, pain, 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 touch of pain, all. So get inside that bliss of the Atman, but that Brahma Yoga Yukta, I'm not a Brahma Yogi. But then I can't get that bliss also. So I'm stuck up somewhere in the middle. And that is what I try to keep on. My life becomes a life of imagination. That is even a greater problem. Why? Because you are getting into that self-created world of yours, where you are the king. You see, grandiose dreams are, and that's what psychology says. This is a dangerous, you can say, stage of a person's mental life. A person is unsuccessful in the external world, so in the internal world, that person is very successful. Maybe I've got $10 there, but in that my inner world, I've got $1 billion. There's no limit to what I want inside. I get trapped in that, you can say, grandiose dreams. One must be able to, that is even more painful, don't worry. So I have to extract myself from this. Don't stop midway. So if you have to go down to the Atman, go down as a god. Go down to your own heaven that's full of bliss. Don't carry all your old troubles in the Atman. I was this, I was that, and people never respected me, people abused me, people scolded me, people criticized me, and this and that. So all my pain I'm taking and going towards the Atman, that also will not do. That will pull you back down. Let it go. Let all the sources of your pain, let it go. Release your pain. As the great Buddhist saying is, release your faith. Release your pain. All your pains. Everything? Yes, everything. It's only when you come away from the touch of pain, when you get that bliss of the Atman. And that bliss, oh my God. On a particle of that bliss of the Atman, this whole world lives. That is, in the scriptures, it's analyzed like that. On a particle of that bliss of the Atman, this whole world lives. The other Upanishad, who will live, who will breathe if this bliss within the heart was not there? So we have the idea of avoiding pain and searching for pleasure. That's perfectly all right for all human beings. But we are searching for pleasure in painful things. The moment we recognize that, my search for pleasure should be in a different place. Where is that? That's in the Atman. And once I get there, he's saying, Sukham akshayam asnute, undecaying bliss. The wise person should not dwell, should not get engaged with painful things. So what is that? See, everything that is limited is painful. Everything. The more a thing is expansive, the more happiness there is in that particular thing. So what about, thought? Your thought of the infinite gives you this sense of, you can say, happiness. The more you think about the infinite, the large, the vast, the more happiness you will get. People say, no? Now in this world of narcissism, me. And that's what happens. You keep on saying me, and nothing happens there. So Sri Ramakrishna says, not I, thou. Naham, tui. So the moment you can think of others, how do you make yourself happy? By thinking of others' happiness and trying to work for them, make them happy. It's the opposite. People think, if I am happy, only then I can make others happy. But we have been trying this and unsuccessfully. So let's put it the other way. To make myself happy, make others happy. And that is the way of spiritual life. Once I can understand this, that this is the worldly way, I make myself happy and then I make others happy. That will not do. The spiritual way is, I make myself happy by making others happy. And this is a sure, short way. Yes, if I make myself completely happy by knowing the Atman, then I can spread that knowledge of the Atman or the joy of the Atman to others. That's okay. But in ordinary way, to make yourself happy, make others happy. Otherwise, we'll be like that, those people and those kind of beings whose whole life force, prana, is only in the body. And it is so terrible. Keep on popping pills. What happened to you? I've got a headache. Then next day you say, what happened to you now? I've got a headache plus a body ache. I keep on pills. And then what happened is something else. Oh, I've got a headache plus a body ache plus a depression. I keep on. And by the time your week is over, you've got a big box of medicines to take. You keep on popping pills. That is not the way of avoiding pain. Get out of that vicious circle and get into the virtuous circle. That will give us that bliss. The 23rd is, this is also another grand verse. Yeah, the whole, there's no, some of these verses, and almost all these verses, they are so sublime, so profound. And though I have been studying this Gita since I was young, still, every time I read and study it, wow. Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Shaknoti haivaya sodam prakshari ravi mokshanad Kama krododbhavam vegam sayukta sasukhi naraha. There. One who can withstand year itself, before the fall of the body. The impulse, the wave arising from desire and anger, kama and krodha. That person is a yogi, that person is happy. There it is. You want happiness? Yeah. Be a yogi. Really? But how long do I practice yoga? No, that's not the idea. It's Brahma Yoga Yukta. You get joined with the reality. You keep on sitting down, the back is hurting, leg is hurting, the brain is paining. That is yoga. That is torture. People have been torturing themselves. Oh my God. When will it be? Another 20 minutes till I can get up. And then, what a yoga you practiced. Full of kind of painful experiences. Yoga should be happy. Your happiness inside. You get up from there, you're happy. You get up from that seat and you constantly chatter. And you constantly look around. What kind of happiness is that you have derived from that meditation? Well, it was a painful meditation. So if you want to be happy, be a yogi. And how do you be a yogi? Be in touch with that reality. That's it. Yes. So here he's saying, how do you get in touch with that? There are those waves that impel us and push us. Like Swami Vivekananda said, despite ourselves, we are impelled. So, this world is an impulsion. Pushes you. What pushes you? Like in the 3rd chapter, one of the questions that Arjuna asked is, why, despite a person's unwillingness to commit sin, that person is pushed into it, as it were? What is this? Atakainam prayukto yam papam charati purusha anichan. That guy is not willing on that. Baladi will like the whole thing is pushing that guy inside. Do it. What's that? They say, Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samud. This desire and this anger, which is born of rajoguna, is the enemy there. That was discussed there in the ending verses of the 3rd chapter. That is the enemy here. And what? Vidyena, this is the enemy, kill it. Yeah, simple. No, that's my enemy. That's like, okay, come and bring it. Come. Don't. That enemy will be enemy. So you kill it. So kill it there. So it is born of Rajoguna. So ordinarily what happens is you are impelled by what? So I'm walking down the street and I see a shop full of, you can say, it's Christmas season now, and then all these pastries. And then I look at that, and then I look at second time, there I'm caught. What made me look at the second time? Impressions in my mind, that impulsion in my mind. Something as it were pushed me. Have a look at it one more time. And then I cross that pastry shop and again I turn and look. And then again that impulse comes. Well, let me get some pastry. Then I retrace my steps and enter that shop. There it is. So this is how that impulse. So here he's saying, one who can withstand year itself, before the fall of the body. He's saying, Sharira Vimokshana. So, even till the very end, these waves will impel you forward. What are the waves? Of desire and anger. These are the two waves that push you. I don't want to go out. You better go out. You get out. And then they close the door. And they'll come in a little and then again go out. Shaknoti eva so, one who can withstand, sodum. One who is able, shaknoti, year while living in the body, before the body falls away. What? The impulse, the waves. It's not a small wave. You go down to this beach here, and when it's low tide, you get these small waves. And so nice, you can go and play in those waves. People swim and this and that. Yeah, it's not those waves. Those waves are like those big tsunamis. They come rushing and pulling everything in its path, taking it away. Those are the tsunamis. Those are the huge waves. But where did the wave rise from? From that earthquake down below. Really? What earthquake? These old experiences have become crystallized, coalesced, and they are pushing the whole thing up. So the mind becomes a big wave. And even during that frenzy, that person is not going to listen to you, to me, to God if he comes, to anyone. That person is just fixated on one thing. That person becomes maddened, as it were. The whole world does not matter. All these, crimes that we hear about and all these things, they are being pushed by their own nature. No good sense prevails. No law prevails. Nothing. Simply push. Who cares for your law? Who cares for your good counsel? Who cares for your scriptures? Who cares for good advice? No. And they are pushed. And most of humanity is in this grip. So this is the disease of humanity. Being pulled and pushed by our own lower natures. And if you can hold on to that, stop those waves rising, that person is a yogi, that person is happy. So how do you do that? Yeah. Get behind me. So Christ says, get behind me, Satan. Satan was trying to kind of tempt Jesus Christ. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. I'll make you the king of everything, I'll give you this, everything. Get behind me, Satan. So we must be able to say, get behind me, Satan, this desire, and get out. And then we will come away from all the contacts of it. Okay? So we'll stop here and take up a few questions if there are. But the next class will be from 24th, which will be the end slokas of this chapter.
Okay, here's a question. Maharaj, can the yoga be another way, practice, or austerity, or tapas, self-control that make mind resilient and forbearing? Can the meditation make the mind forbearing?
You see, there is something called fortitude or stamina. Okay? There is something painful and your tolerance of pain is very high. You can bear the pain. That's not going to make you a yogi. The better way is to get in touch easily with your Atman. This process of pain toleration is a kind of a discipline for your body, which is tapas. And that discipline, if you have the idea should be of realizing the Atman. So you tolerate pain to a great degree, that gives you a kind of a heat in the body. It's called tapas. Tapas is heat. It's not plain just austerity. I have 20 shirts, so I will just wear 2 shirts. I will keep away 18 shirts away. That's austerity. I'm eating so much, so I'm going to eat so much. That's not austerity. Real austerity, tapas, is it generates heat. And that has to the body has to be disciplined through its, you can say, severely at times. Like Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the Mahut, the rider on the elephant, sitting down there, he has something called a goad, called an ankush. So when the elephant puts his trunk in the neighbor's garden to eat those bananas, the Mahut gives a blow with that iron rod on the elephant's head, taps it. So the elephant retracts the trunk. And then again it gives. So this process might seem painful. Yes. But then it has a higher purpose of controlling the mind like that. And you hit it, bring it back. Every time your senses go out, hit it, pull it back in. The idea is all this kind of pain has to be got inside. It should lead you inside. That's why in the Yoga Sutras they are called klishta, pain-bearing obstructions. All your experiences are pain-bearing, klishta. And the whole of Yoga Sutras is trying to first eliminate this klishta, the klishta vrittis, the painful experiences. So, what are these? Avidya, asmitha, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. They're saying avidya, ignorance, asmita, the sense of I. Raga is attachment, dvesha is, you can say, repulsion, and the fear of death, abhinivesha. So these are the first five classes of mental modification that one has to conquer. You don't have to conquer any other things first. Get this first under your control. So these are pain-bearing obstructions, and this has to be conquered. So the process is painful, of course, but it has a purpose. It has a higher purpose. So that is the way of controlling pain, forbearing pain.
No more questions?
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.